Let's get right into it. Number 10. Phobias in people have a fear of buttons. Yes, buttons. Not the belly button, although that's a thing too, but the little plastic discs you use to hold your shirt together. This is phobia, and it's more than just a fashion inconvenience. For someone with this phobia, a button isn't just a fastener. It's a tiny circular monster waiting to ruin their day. The texture, the look, the very idea of a button can trigger a full-blown panic attack. We're talking sweating, shaking, and a desperate urge to flee the room. All because your grandma is wearing a cardigan. So, what's the deal? Why would a brain decide that buttons are public enemy number one? Well, like many phobias, it often starts in childhood. Maybe a kid swallowed a button and had a choking scare. Or perhaps they associated buttons with something creepy, like a weird doll with button eyes that stared into their soul. The brain, in its infinite and often misguided wisdom, creates a shortcut. Buttons equals danger. From that point on, every time you see a button, your amygdala, the brain's overzealous security guard, hits the panic button. It doesn't care that it's just a piece of plastic. It's all hands on deck. Red alert. Get this person away from the evil disc of doom. Basically, your nervous system is throwing a tantrum in your honor. Number 9. Phobia, looking in a mirror and seeing not just your reflection, but a portal to another dimension of pure terror. That's phobia, the fear of mirrors. People with this phobia don't just worry about having a bad hair day. They're terrified of what they might see looking back at them. It's not about vanity. It's a deep, primal fear that the reflection has a mind of its own, or that something supernatural might pop out of the glass. Think of every horror movie you've ever seen where the reflection moves on its own. Now, imagine feeling that every time you walk into a bathroom. The psychology behind this is fascinatingly twisted. Mirrors force us into a state of self. You're literally face to face with yourself, and for some people, that's a terrifying prospect. It can trigger anxieties about identity, mortality, and the uncanny valley, that creepy feeling you get when something looks almost human, but not quite. Your brain sees your reflection and, for a split second, might not recognize it as you. This flicker of disconnect can be enough to send your fight-or-flight response into overdrive. It's your brain's way of saying, I don't know what that thing is, but it's wearing your face, and I don't like it one bit. So, the next time you're checking your teeth for spinach, spare a thought for the people who see a monster instead. Number 8. Phobia, standing in a shower and suddenly forgetting how water works, or, more accurately, being convinced that the water is a clear liquid poison about to melt your skin off. Welcome to the world of phobia, the fear of bathing. This isn't just about skipping a shower after a long day. This is a genuine, all-consuming terror of washing, bathing, or cleaning oneself. For someone with phobia, the bathroom isn't a sanctuary. It's a torture chamber designed by a very clean, very sadistic villain. The roots of this phobia often stem from a traumatic event involving water, maybe a near-drowning experience as a child, or even something as seemingly harmless as slipping in the tub. The brain, in its classic overprotective parent mode, decides that all water-related activities are a threat to your existence. It's not just the water itself, but the whole ritual, the sound of the shower, the feeling of being wet, the vulnerability of being naked. Your brain lumps it all together into one giant nope file. It's a primal fear response gone wild, like using a fire hose to water a single houseplant. The result is a person who has to choose between social alienation and facing what feels like a life or death battle every single day. So much for a relaxing bubble bath. Number 7. Phobia, know that feeling when a feather tickles you and you giggle. Now, imagine that same feather sending you into a state of sheer, unadulterated panic. That's phobia, the fear of being tickled by feathers. It sounds like a joke, but for those who have it, it's no laughing matter. The very sight of a feather can trigger anxiety, and the thought of it touching their skin is enough to induce a full-blown panic attack. It's not the tickling itself they fear, but the feather. The feather is the enemy. So why would anyone be afraid of a fluffy, harmless feather? The answer lies in the brain's bizarre wiring. This phobia is often linked to a sensory processing issue. The light, unpredictable touch of a feather can be overwhelming for some nervous systems. It's a sensation that you can't quite control or predict, and that lack of control is terrifying. Your brain interprets the light touch as a threat, like an insect crawling on your skin. It's a false alarm, but your body doesn't know the difference. It just knows that something is touching you and it needs to be stopped. It's your nervous system's way of saying, I don't know what this is, but it's touching me without my permission, and I'm about to start swinging. Number 6. Phobia had a delicious peanut butter sandwich, only to find that sticky, glorious goodness glued to the roof of your mouth. Annoying, right? Now, imagine that sensation triggering a full-blown existential crisis. That, my friends, is irrational, the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. This isn't about disliking peanut butter. It's about the sheer, unadulterated terror of that specific, clingy sensation. For someone with this phobia, a jar of Gif isn't a pantry staple. It's a weapon of mass oral discomfort, capable of inducing panic, choking sensations, and a desperate need for a palate cleanser that never quite arrives. Why would your brain decide that a common sandwich spread is a harbinger of doom? It often boils down to a primal fear of choking or losing control. The sticky texture can trigger a feeling of suffocation, even if there's no actual danger. Your brain, ever the drama queen, interprets that momentary stickiness as a life-threatening event. It's like your internal alarm system is set to maximum sensitivity. Mistaking a minor inconvenience for a full-blown emergency, it's not the peanut butter itself, but the perceived threat of immobility and suffocation. So, while you're happily munching on your PB&J, someone with irrational is probably having a silent panic attack just thinking about it. They're basically living in a world where every sandwich is a potential trap. Number 5. Nomophobia felt that cold dread when your phone battery dips below 10%, or the phantom vibration in your pocket only to realize your phone isn't even there. Congratulations, you might be experiencing a mild case of nomophobia, the fear of being without your mobile phone. This isn't just about being addicted to TikTok. It's a genuine anxiety disorder born from our hyper-connected world. For a nomophobe, losing their phone isn't just an inconvenience. It's like losing a limb, a lifeline, and their entire sense of self all at once. The thought of being unreachable, disconnected, or unable to access information can trigger intense panic, shortness of breath, and a desperate urge to find a charger or Wi-Fi signal. This phobia is a fascinating byproduct of modern technology. Our phones have become extensions of ourselves, holding our memories, our social connections, our navigation, and even our sense of security. When that extension is threatened, our brains perceive it as a direct threat to our well-being. It taps into deeper fears of isolation, helplessness, and missing out. Your brain, which evolved to keep you safe in a world of saber-toothed tigers, is now convinced that a dead battery is just as dangerous. It's constantly scanning for signals, checking for notifications, and when those aren't there, it screams, "Danger! You are alone and vulnerable." It's essentially your primal fear of being abandoned, repackaged for the digital age. So, next time your phone dies, remember, it's not just a dead battery. It's your brain screaming about impending doom. Number 4. Xanthophobia woken up in a cold sweat, convinced that the color yellow is out to get you. No, well, some people have. This isn't just a mild dislike for canary-colored cars or sunflowers. This is xanthophobia, the irrational and intense fear of the color yellow. For someone with this phobia, a sunny day isn't a blessing. It's a terrifying assault on their senses. Bananas, lemons, even a cheerful smiley face emoji can trigger a full-blown panic attack. We're talking heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and a desperate urge to find a dark, yellow-free bunker to hide in. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth does a brain decide that yellow, of all colors, is the ultimate evil? And that's a perfectly rational question. The truth is, like many specific phobias, the origin can be deeply personal and often rooted in a traumatic experience. Perhaps they had a terrifying incident involving a yellow object, or maybe they associate the color with a painful memory. The brain, in its attempt to protect itself, creates a powerful, albeit illogical, association. Yellow equals danger. It doesn't matter that yellow is also the color of joy and sunshine. To the phobic brain, it's a warning sign, a visual siren screaming, "Run." It's your brain's overzealous security system, mistaking a friendly golden retriever for a rabid wolf, all because they share a hue. So, the next time you see a field of daffodils, remember, for some, It's less a picturesque scene and more a terrifying golden apocalypse. Number 3. Papaphobiamagine. The sheer terror of seeing a man in a white robe, wearing a funny hat, and holding a staff. Now, imagine that man is the Pope, and that you have papaphobia, the fear of the Pope. This isn't about religious disagreement or a critique of the Vatican. It's a genuine, debilitating fear of the head of the Catholic Church. For someone with papaphobia, news reports, images, or even just the mention of the Pope can send them into a spiral of anxiety, panic attacks, and an overwhelming desire to escape. It's not about the man himself, but Waith represents, or perhaps what their brain has decided he represents, the psychology behind such a specific and seemingly bizarre. Phobia is often complex. It could stem from a negative childhood experience related to religious authority, a traumatic event involving a religious figure, or even an overactive imagination that has linked the Pope to something fearful or oppressive. The brain, in its infinite capacity for creating connections, might have associated the Pope with a sense of overwhelming power, judgment, or an inescapable presence. It's like your brain has taken all your anxieties about authority, morality, and perhaps even the unknown, and condensed them into one very specific, very holy figure. Your amygdala, that little fear-mongering almond in your brain, doesn't care about theological debates. It just sees a symbol that it's been programmed to perceive as a threat. It's your internal defense mechanism screaming, danger. Highly influential figure approaching. Basically, your brain is treating the leader of 1 billion people like a jump scare in a horror movie. Number 2. Anatidophobia. Get the unsettling feeling that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. No, not a real duck, just a duck. That, my friends, is anatidophobia. The persistent, irrational fear that you are being watched by a duck. This isn't about being attacked by a rogue goose or having a bad experience at a pond. This is the existential dread that a feathered, web-footed stalker is observing your every move, silently judging your life choices from afar. It's the kind of phobia that makes you double-check your curtains, just in case a duck has managed to scale your apartment building and is peering in with its beady little eyes. Now, before you scoff, consider the sheer absurdity of it. Your brain, a complex organ capable of astrophysics and philosophical debate, has decided that a duck, a creature primarily concerned with breadcrumbs and paddling, is a master of surveillance. The psychological underpinnings of anatidophobia often tap into deeper anxieties about paranoia, surveillance, and a loss of privacy. It's not the duck itself that's terrifying, but the idea of being constantly observed, of never truly being alone. The duck becomes a symbol for all those unseen eyes, all those judgments, all those moments when you feel exposed. Your amygdala, ever the overachiever, takes a perfectly harmless waterfowl and transforms it into a feathered, omniscient spy. It's your brain's way of saying, someone's always watching, and it might just be a duck. So, next time you see a duck, just remember, it might not be just enjoying the scenery. It might be taking notes. Number 1. Amphilophobia recoiled in horror at the sight of a belly button. Not just a little squeamishness, but a full-blown, gut-wrenching terror. That's amphilophobia, the fear of belly buttons. For someone with this phobia, the navel isn't just a harmless scar from our time in the womb. It's a grotesque, alien-like vortex of pure horror. The thought of touching one, or even seeing one, can trigger a visceral reaction of disgust and panic. It's a phobia that makes beach season a minefield of anxiety and crop tops a fashion. Statement of pure evil. The psychology behind this is as fascinating as it is bizarre. The belly button is essentially a reminder of our connection to our mothers, a physical link to our origins. For some, this can be a source of anxiety, a symbol of dependence, or a connection they find unsettling. Others might have a more primal, almost instinctual revulsion to the appearance of the navel itself. It's a hole, a swirl, and not a strange and unique feature that doesn't quite fit with the rest of our smooth, uninterrupted skin. The brain, in its quest for order and predictability, might see the belly button as an anomaly, a glitch in the human design. It's your brain's way of saying, I don't know what that is, but it's not supposed to be there, and I want it gone. It's a primal fear of the unknown, of the uncanny, all focused on a tiny, harmless indentation. So, the next time you're contemplating your own navel, remember, for some, it's not a moment of introspection. It's a glimpse into the abyss. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.